And well, I was in that games, in the Olympic Games, and she told about everything I've been doing, and then she writes this story, and then she said, at the end she said, Peggy had 3 dreams. One was to be a foreign correspondent, one was to work for the UN, and one was to work for the Olympics. And she said, she's done all 3, and she said, now what's going to happen? And I mean, that damn question haunted me the next 10 years. Because like I said from the beginning, I never thought ahead very much. I never thought about what would happen. Again, you know, I think being a child of the 50s, you know, and you know, I wanted to have kids. I wanted to get married, and you know, everything kind of happened, but they all happen disjointedly, you know. And I think life is like that. I think you can't plan ahead too much. And the way things are now, where you never are going, I mean, I'm ahead of my time in terms of I never had a job for more than 5 years. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody will have a job for more than 5 years. Then it was really unusual. And I know there were times where I applied for jobs. They said, well, you've had so many jobs. I go, well, so, yeah, I moved around, and, you know, my husband moved, and I moved with my husband, and I, you know, well, that was very well regarded in the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. Now it's going to be common. So in a way, I was ahead of my time. But I also wasn't very ambitious in terms of thinking. I wanted these things, and they kind of fell in my lap. And just think, if I thought big, maybe I would have gotten somewhere really big. And I love the fact that there's a lot of generations there, and that I can meet different generation of women, and that some of the women in my generation have shared some of the same things we have, and that we can share, you know, what we've been through with other women, but not because it's anti-male or that we're in some big gender fight. I think we all need to go together. I think it's terrible that 60% of college students now are women, and only 40% of male are, and that's not something to be happy about. We need to help our sons and our brothers and our uncles and our husbands, you know, and we need to do it as women. They're in a real crisis right now, man. They don't know what their role model is anymore, and they, you know, and now women are having babies without men and raising children without men, and saying that men aren't necessary even in a little boy's life or in a little girl's life. That is just terrible. I think it's terrible. Younger people can mentor older ones too. I don't know why we always think vice versa, that the mentor always has to mentor the young person. As I said, as more and more seniors come back, as a lot of the leadership positions are taken by younger journalists, which is great. I mean, they're, you know, they're really into technology. They're 35 years old. They become an editor, and then there's a senior who wants to come back in. Why, you know, I've seen in some of the nonprofits I've worked to that that we look towards an intern sometime to be contacts. I mean, the networking is of all ages. I don't know why when we talk about mentoring, it's always got to be an older person to a younger. It can be a younger person to an older one. Or we can, you know, mentor some foreign people, foreign journalists, women. I would rather put my money into that than have, you know, 10 students. So I don't know, it's just me.